Welcome everyone to the jewelry call. It is June 24th and we're covering main stone shapes, like stones you find in brooches. And I did a document here. I'm just going to go through this fairly quick and then we'll take questions afterwards. So these are all the item specifics off of eBay. And I did add a couple extra at the end. There's kind of a difference. There's the stone shapes and then there's bead shapes. We're covering the stone shapes and then I'll touch base on the bead shapes when we're done. So the first one, let me see if I can zoom in so you can get a better view of this. All right, the first one's called Asher. And it's just a lot of these are based off of gemstones or diamonds, not necessarily rhinestones. Rhinestones are pretty straightforward. So a lot of these you're not even gonna are not even gonna apply for you because you're doing vintage. If you're doing gemstones, then this will obviously help. All right, so this first one's Asher. Note the corners of Asher are cut. They're not pointed, so it's obviously not square. It's got a lot of facets. I'm going to make this document available in the Facebook group so you'll be able to refer back to it. This is baguettes, or the long, narrow rectangle, which is different than rectangle. These are generally more skinny. Here's our Baroque pearl. And I put this one in here for Larry because he showed one like this not too long ago. It was like indented, like it was deflated. And no, that's the actual way it looks. This one is got a slight variation off of the round, and that gives it that Baroque look. And here's some real odd shaped, they call these Baroque. These are probably freshwater pearls, but they're actually considered Baroque. Anything that's not your typical round that has indentions or an odd shape to it. Brilliant cut. This again applies more to gemstones. So I put this document in here because I really liked how they do the line drawings. That helps you determine. And it has this higher cut or higher, whatever you want to call it, rise. And there's differences between old mine cut, old European cut, and brilliant cut. With our vintage, we might see more of the mine cut or even the European cut. And briolettes. I generally use briolettes with this shape or this shape, but there are a lot of different brilliant cut or briolette cuts, which I didn't know until I looked up this for this document. And butterfly is pretty straightforward. Cabochon gets used inaccurately quite a bit. It is a gem. It's a gem polished, but not faceted. So it's smooth. It's going to be smooth. A lot of times you'll see them in oval, but they do come in round and elongated oval. So there's various shapes, but as long as they are smooth and polished like that, you can call it a cabochon. Clover, this is Van Cleef. You'll see it a lot in their designs. It's kind of their signature shape, but it does come in rhinestones as well. And obviously you can use clover for a regular looking 3-leaf clover, 4-leaf clover. Cushion shape is very similar to the Asher shape. That's why I said look at the corners on this. Cushion shape is a little bit more rounded, yet still has that square shape. The corners are rounded. Emerald cut. This one is it kind of gets used inaccurately as well. You cannot put emerald in the title. I wouldn't even put emerald cut in the title, just because if you say something's emerald, they see emerald, but they didn't see cut after that. They're going to think that rhinestone's actually an emerald. So be careful how you use it. Just put it in the item specifics under main stone shapes that it's an emerald cut. It has that rectangle shape. It looks like how they normally cut emeralds. That's why they call it that. And has the cut off corners. Heart, that one's pretty straightforward. Hexagon's pretty straightforward too. Marquee, this one gets interchanged with Nivette quite a bit. And I did a little bit of research on this one just to verify that I'm looking at it accurate. And they pretty much are the same thing. But the only difference was Marquee is used mostly in diamonds and fine jewelry, and Nivette's used mostly in costume vintage jewelry. That was the main difference. Oval, it's pretty obvious and straightforward. Usually when we're talking oval, it's faceted, where a cabochon you could use, if it's rounded. Pear and teardrop are used interchangeably. Pear is really considered has a little bit more of a fatter base to it. Like you see here, and I got teardrop down farther, you'll see the difference. Princess cut is a square. And if you can see the facets by this line drawing, they're a little bit harder to find. You could call it square as well and probably be fine. There's no police out there, checking for that. Radiant cut is a lot like the emerald cut, except it has a lot more facets in the middle. And it can be in square shape as well. Rose cut has kind of a rounded look to it. You can see it a little bit better on the pink ones. It looks more like a rose. But it has that dome shape with a lot of facets. And then we got round, which is your typical rhinestones we see all the time. You could call Rivoli's round as well.
Lynn,
And here's this. Yes.
on that rose cut, what face of that is sticking up? The flatter surface or the dome part? Which is
The
typically in the
dome.
mount and which
Dome.
is sticking up?
The dome is up on top.
Okay, thank you.
The flat is glued probably, or it's prong set.
Thank you.
The square looks just like Princess in a way. It's just pretty squared off. I mean, nothing fancy about it. Star, it's pretty straightforward as well. And here's teardrop. If you remember what the pear looked like, this one's a little bit thinner, has more of a, and again, you're not going to get in trouble if you say a pear is a teardrop and a teardrop is a pear. Trapezoid, I just had this necklace and I thought I'd throw that in. Had some trapezoid beads. You see these a lot on the older check pieces, but I mean, they still use it. It's still common today, like on these abalone pieces, but you'll see a lot of trapezoids and unique shapes on the check pieces. And here's an odd shaped one. So they come in different shapes. They're just not perfectly rectangle. Trillion, you can use it as like a triangle shaped one, or this domed shape is considered a trillion as well. So that's all the eBay item specifics. Now, here's some other shapes that you could use in your title if it's not in the item specifics. So gammatic is just odd shaped, angled, faceted stone. And obviously here's what the back looks like. It's not perfect, it's asymmetrical. Kite, you see this a lot in Shriner and Schiaparelli. This piece on the right is actually a Schiaparelli piece. So there's two variations of this. If you notice, this one has a flat top and this one has a pointed top. They're both considered kite. And then lava is just, it looks like a lava rock. It's just got kind of a rounded, bumpy look to it. And you can find these in all different shapes, round, oval, all different shapes. Margarita, you see this a lot combined with Rivoli or watermelon in the titles. Margarita refers to the shape. So it looks like a flower scalloped shape. And it looks like this from the side. And then molded was the last one, I think. There are so many different molded shapes. I just threw in 4 different ones. You'll see a lot of molded leaves. And if it's glass, I would call it molded. Well, I guess you could for acrylic as well, but this one was pretty interesting. It had kind of a rose shape molded into a smooth, like pear shape. And then Rivoli. So these are sew on Rivolis, so ignore the little holes in them. This is what your typical rhinestone would look like on the right. It has the point on the top. It also has a point on the bottom, but these sew on ones are flat on the bottom. So this is probably more of a common one that we would see. Rondelle is kind of a spacer bead. And now we're getting into beads, like on necklaces, bracelets, that type of thing. Most of these other ones were brooches. So rondelles are not just with the rhinestones, they can be this shape, but they would consider them a spacer bead. And then I started looking into beads and I'm like, holy crap, this is another video. There's so many different shapes of beads. And I just threw this into this document because it was off of Pinterest and it was already done. And it was a really good example of all the different shapes we're going to see on necklaces and bracelets. And
you
I
have a
threw
good
this one
YouTube
in
video on
because,
that, right? Don't you have one on
yeah,
YouTube that's about beads?
I was going to show that in a minute here. Bicone, I threw that one on because this is probably one of the more common ones we see regularly. And then nugget is not on there, but this is a term you could use for a chunkier bead that's odd shaped. And obviously all of these are just odd shaped stones that are considered nuggets, which is different than chips. So chips are just little pieces of stone compared to the bigger, chunkier stones, which I would call nuggets. And then the last one I could think of was seed beads. Yeah, we see seed beads in almost every necklace, but you could have a total seed bead necklace like this one, twisted, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's about the end of that. But I'm not sure, I don't think we did this in your calls yet, did we? This,
I don't think
the
so.
different types of stones. If we didn't do it, I mean, I can do it separately because
That's like
this
a whole
is
nother
like
call because I think that that stuff's really interesting and I think it's probably even more necessary than the stone shapes. The stuff is for people to
exactly,
know.
that's how I feel.
Yes,
I mean, if there's enough requests, we can do that.
Yeah,
let's
we
talk
can do that
about,
next week
So
if you want.
that's fine.
sorry, Lynn, I had a question.
Yes.
For the molded, they, is it ever, like, you know how, like, we see those, like, reverse carved,
Intaglios?
yeah, like, can they ever do that with, like, would it ever not be molded? Would it ever be carved, or would it ever be, like, is that ever a thing?
Well, yeah, you can, if you picture like the intaglios, which is an oval glass or acrylic bead stone,
Mm-hmm.
and they go into it and carve out of it. Obviously, you call that carved. If you picture these leaves being put into a mold, a
Okay,
shaped mold, that's where it would be called a molded
molded, okay,
leaf.
got it.
That's a very good keyword for those is I always put reverse carved.
Reverse carved, okay, yep.
Yeah,
For the intaglio, not the molded bead.
right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was confused about the water. I mean, remember when we had that whole debate on watermelon Rivoli and all that? I had a pair of earrings that were margarita watermelon, not margarita Rivoli. So Rivoli is the type of stone,
And so is margarita.
Margarita. Watermelon is the colors. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I was so excited I got it right on these pair of earrings. I messaged Carrie, but I don't think you saw it. It's like, I got it right. They're margarita watermelon.
Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, that one is always confusing. And then there's heliotrope, which is more of a bluish purple color.
Heliotrope.
So there you can throw in another, big word.
Is someone actually going to search for that though? Would someone like?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Heliotrope they will.
Wow.
Especially if you get
Yeah.
into Juliana's and stuff, because that's very well known in Juliana's. Yep.
Okay. And can you also
Is there any?
between Sabrina
Go
and
ahead. Yeah, that's on my other one.
Yeah, that'll be in another category because that's not a shape, that's a color.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, thank you.
You know what?
Is there any other stones that I'm forgetting?
I don't think so. And what I want to say about this is don't get hung up on, like she said, if you're doing fine jewelry and cuts of diamonds and stuff, this becomes a lot more important. But in most of our run-of-the-mill stuff, yes, we do use them occasionally, and I agree on using them occasionally. But across the board, you're not going to use these unless somebody's searching for it for what you're doing. So, like she said with the briolettes, if you get an older piece that has the briolette, somebody may search for that. But in general, like you wouldn't maybe put that on a Y2K piece or whatever, like it has to go with what people are searching for, kind of like heliotrope. Heliotrope people look for on Juliana's. I know that. And then there's a couple other designers that use that's a big thing. If it's not, I'm not going to put it on a $30 brooch, right? That nobody cares about. So use it according to how your customer is going to search. Don't get hung up on it.
Very true.
I learned yesterday, and maybe I've been under a rock. Lynn probably already knows this. Why the left face cameos are left face and why they're so rare. I guess I always knew they were rare and that they were worth a little more, but I didn't know why.
I feel like I read this one time, but I don't remember.
Because the designer was left-handed.
Oh.
And there's so many less left-handed artists or people in general, so that's why they're rare. Because how they had to hold the carving tools, they had to carve them the other direction.
And it was probably easier to do that nose with your right hand, very precise.
I always thought the lady was just looking left when they were doing her portrait. And then they just carved a picture out of the portrait.
Not really.
Yeah, obviously not.
They could. I mean, that's not out of the question, I guess. But somebody could have been. Yeah.
That's
kind of like you can tell when that jeweler that I go to in Des Moines that's just a wealth of knowledge. Like I can't afford any of his jewelry, but he does buy my gold and he's pretty he's got some really cool stuff. But he told me that the cameos that start showing them full face on, because you'll find some, well, like I don't, but you could find some cameos that are more of a full face on but look like a cameo, but yet they don't to us because we're used to the profile. He said that in the late 1700s and really early 1800s, but mostly in 1700s, they were all mostly full face. They were this way instead of that way. And that was like when the transition period. So he said, if you get a really old cameo and they're more front on, that in the rest of the, of course you got to look at the findings and the case and all that too, but that's a really good indicator that they are old, that they're very old.
That also, that one guy was telling me that was a custom piece for somebody in particular. Yep. Usually the forward facing ones are custom pieces.
Yep. And lots of times they'll be men. Like there were men cameos were very popular in the earlier times. So lots of times even beyond the Roman soldiers, but you'll find the men ones. And I always just thought they were ugly ladies, but apparently they're actually men. And some of them are ugly ladies, but and it's hard to one of these days I'll go out on a limb and I'll do because I got down a cameo rabbit hole one time when I bought an estate of them, and like how you age them according to the nose and the hairstyle and And I swear that's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I don't ever usually buy cameos without seeing them and touching them and all that stuff, because man, I see a lot of vintage cameos that are being sold that are just not at all, and it just irritates the heck out of me. Like, and I always want to say, everybody in my jewelry group would tell you that is not, because they know it, because I complain about it all the time.
Yeah, I seen one this weekend at a sale, and it was really small, but it had an additional little piece about an inch higher that was carved too. And they wanted $125 for it, but it was 14 karat gold chain. And I couldn't get myself to buy it. I went
The
back
chain
3 times
was though,
looking at
right?
it.
The chain would
The
have been
chain
worth
was
more than that.
14 karat, but I didn't have a scale with me. It was a real dainty chain. And
Oh,
the
yeah, some of them are real
cameo
light.
was real small. So of course I didn't have a portable scale with me to do the math, but
I have
I
a
didn't buy it.
pocket scale. But the like for instance, like the last time I took gold and stuff in, the little tack pack, the little lapel pins, the real little pins, I was getting 65 to 80 out of those a piece. But some of those do weigh more than, if those real old dainty chains don't weigh much. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I learned that, and then I learned so I have this, and I was gonna throw it away. It looks like a little time capsule type thing. And I just thought it was a little bead that fell off something. And then I realized when I turn it upside down, where did I go? That when I turn it upside down, it moves.
That's
And
a
stuff.
moon glow, isn't it? Moonstone?
No, it's a floating opal.
Cool.
And almost always they're in 14 karat gold. And they're like, look them up on eBay. I was like, what in the world?
Carrie, let me ask you something about that floating opal. I have an opal ring from my grandmother where all of the stones, maybe there's like 10 of them, they're round and they all move. Does that mean they're floating?
They're the floating opal. Yeah.
I've
Yep.
never seen one like it. I've never,
I
they
hadn't found
all
one either.
move.
I did make an expensive mistake the other day. So one of my really good customers that buy like my Nola Miller and cameras across, she goes, hey, if you find the other piece of this necklace, I'll gladly pay you the $200 you're asking. But there's a little bitty piece that goes on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So it came in the box, but I was like, what the heck's this little piece of junk? And I threw it away. Looked like junk to me.
Never do that.
No, I just chucked it. It might still be in my scrap box. I don't know. It looked like junk to me. I threw it away. And she's like, no, that's the signature piece on it. I was like, oh, well, not anymore. But then somebody from China bought it. And so hopefully they don't return it because it's missing that piece. But my picture doesn't show that piece either. So I had no idea. I don't even know what you would do with it. I don't even know where it goes. I have no idea. But I'm not going to throw that away anymore.
I sold one of them floating opals. I'm trying to find what price I got for it. I know it was 89 or somewhere around there.
They're
A
expensive.
necklace. They're pretty cool.
They are cool. I've never seen one before, so I learned something. Well, I will bite the bullet, and no huge, all I ask is no huge peanut gallery action about this, because I'm no expert. I am not an expert. I find myself fair to middling with Juliana. So I'm not an expert, but I'm willing to share some things that helped me when I was trying to learn. And I will also, there's things that just, it's like here I'm going to tell you this, but there's always going to be a but. Sometimes one of the biggest things for me would be it's called something fancy. So for me, you get like practical layman terms. Lynn will tell you what it's really called. The VBACs, like those only happened usually on the figurals on Juliana. So that to me is a dead giveaway. If I see a big, huge brooch of a Juliana, it's got the VBAC on it, it's not. Like I can just say it's not. They're wrong. So, and this comes down to the lesson that, I always preach at Larry is people lie. Period. End of story. They lie or they don't know. Sometimes they just don't know. But it does aggravate me when I see people selling tables and but because they're telling people this is for sure what it is. If I'm not sure, I say I don't know. I'm not sure. But like if it's got a big VBAC on it and it's not
Or
a figure
you.
or the U, yep. It's not. period, end of story. It's just not. So
What
the
form does that
figural
take? What does that look like? The V or the U? Is that the frame you're talking about?
on the back, the
I'll
pin
find,
back, got the V or the
I'll
U,
find one.
Yes, thank you.
like that, like what Eric has. That's a V back.
Yeah.
If it's got that back or a U, it is not Juliana.
So that's the attachment, right? The pin.
The pin
And if
frame.
it has even a straight bar underneath, it's not Juliana.
Right. So what you're saying
Period,
there
end
is
of
with
story.
Juliana, it's two separate soldered on pieces at both ends.
Unless
Right.
the figurals, there are very small, like the butterfly, I think, didn't it have a V back on it?
So Eric, you got plenty of those with the bolted on rivet non-Juliana stuff, I presume?
Well, so do you, Larry. I do
Yeah.
too. I have a whole bunch of it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got lots of
We
them.
do too.
Just
Some of the old,
just jabbing you, man.
some of the old
Eric,
Western Germany ones.
Can you put it up again, Eric? Please.
Oh, hang on, I started sharing my screen. Just a minute. Okay, there we go, Eric.
Hold
So
on.
see how that's a V,
Here.
Lisa?
Where are we? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like a
Gotcha.
pre-made piece
Yeah.
that's riveted on.
Never
part of the
Juliana. Or
scheme.
if it has a U that looks like that, never Juliana, unless it's a figural.
Okay. All right.
And I don't find a lot of figurals, so I don't know that we need a, except for that one duck bunny thing I had. That was so confusing to me. So here, pin stop. I don't know that this is an always thing. People will fight you to the death about this, but most of Juliana's will have a pin stop. That is the mechanism behind where the pin opens up, it stops it, it keeps it from hitting the back. It doesn't lay all the way down. That's a pin stop.
Now, Ann Pittman always says that's not always true because them pin stops can break off.
And I agree that that's sometimes not always true. However, most of the time, when I talk in Juliana terms, it's most of the time. This is a good indicator. I do look for pin stops. It doesn't mean it's a deal breaker for me, but I look for pin stops. That's
Did
big.
you say pin stops is or is not, Juliana?
It doesn't mean it always is, because there's lots of pin stops
No, I
out
got
there.
you. I got
But it is an indicator to look for.
you. That it is.
does. Yes.
Okay.
Open back stones. There's lots of companies that have open back stones. However, this is one of the things we could look for. Does not mean if you have an open back stone, now you have a Juliana. That's not true. That's just one of the things. And an unfoiled. So lots of times, yep.
But they also have closed ones too.
They absolutely do sometimes. That is true. This is just an overview. So I said, I'm not opening up a can of worms. I'm trying to help people that are like putting up pieces of $5 rhinestone things going, I think it's a Juliana. And maybe they can say, nope, it's just not. The process of elimination. Lots of times they'll have these closed rivets. See how that rivet it looks different. If you ever hold a piece of really good Juliana, oftentimes they will have one of those really solid rivets like this. And here's a closeback.
Wait, but with rivets, they are not like Judy Lee, where they have a whole bunch of rivets. They only put a couple rivets sporadic on the piece, like maybe
you won't see them in a row.
Spread out.
Yeah, you will never see them like, I have never seen them where it's like a whole row of them, like Judy Lee or whatever. No. Totally
So
agree
that's
with that.
just holding, in this case, two pieces of pre-made jewelry together, right? To make up the combined piece. The rivet is there to hold something to something else.
All
And-
rivets are made to hold
right.
something to something else.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it looks like those Navette piece at the top is riveted to the cabochon piece down below. Is my guess of what's going on there.
Probably. Engineer Larry. I have no idea.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
Or
I have
there
no
could
idea
be-
what is.
There could be an overlay on the front that it's pulling back and holding.
It could be
to
too.
the base.
Yep. So here's a closeback stone, like Lynn said. We have closeback. Sometimes they'll do both in the same piece. These are just like little things to look for. It doesn't mean that it is. and here's a foil back, right? So this one's got it all going on. We have open back, and you might go, well, geez, we haven't learned anything. It could be both. But if you're seeing the construction, so here's the puddling people talk about. This is a figure 8 puddling. Ann Pittman, who wrote the book, says that that was not a thing on purpose. I don't know. I see a lot of Julianas with figure 8 puddling, but she obviously knows more than me. But I do see a lot of figure 8 puddling in Juliana. Right there, there's a figure 8
And
puddling. There's a figure 8
the
puddling.
the maker D&E, whatever his name is, I can't remember, Elster, he said that this was a sloppy job done by a maker and he doesn't like to associate it with his jewelry line.
That's correct.
And me and Carrie came up with a theory that there was probably one maker that did this.
Yep.
So it's because it's not on every piece. And she will not, she doesn't even want to claim that that makes it a Juliana piece.
Right. So everybody says, oh, figure 8 puddling. Like if you talk to the experts, they will shut you down. They don't want to talk about figure 8 puddling. They don't want to admit it. I will look for it, but it's not an end all be all. So people that tell you, oh, it's got, no, it's not. And D&E also made pieces for lots of different companies. So that does not make it an automatic Juliana either. But it is an indicator. Here's amount of melted solder, which is just kind of a messy job, but you do see sometimes that puddle. And the joint and catch pin back, which that obviously you're going to see on lots of things. But these are just some indicators. Here's a Juliana piece. So there's some figure 8 puddle. I don't know why Ralph's message keeps popping up. Figure 8 puddling. We have rivets, but like Lynn said, see how they're just kind of sporadic. They aren't just like all over the place. That's pretty common. We have a pin stop. I would see that on a table, 3 tables down and know, oh, there's a Juliana piece upside down. And that's where you almost have to get to be competitive at these estate sales. I very rarely, when I do compete for them, very rarely am I grabbing pieces because I have time to really look at it. You don't have time to look. You have to be able to identify things in a pile across the room almost sometimes. So that's why the studying comes in real handy. And then here you can see the end of the earrings, the earring with the hole, the 3 holes, and then we have an open back stone. This one, they were trying to decide whether, quit popping up. They were trying to decide whether this was, I almost think I remember them talking about this being early Shriner, but I don't really remember. It was just attached to it. So, but here, this is one that you'll see a common construction of. You have the open back navettes. There are no rivets that I see on this one. There's closed back of the big round stones. You have a pin stop over here. I don't know if there's figure 8 puddling down there, but it's hard to see. But if you'd see this laying face down on a table, I absolutely would snatch it up because I would have a pretty good indication that it's probably a Juliana. This is a very common look, I guess I would say. The bracelets, you should be able to identify these very easily if you see them laying around. I've picked up so many Juliana bracelets for $5 at the flea market because they didn't know what it was because it wasn't signed. Well, of course it wasn't signed, right? So we have the 5-link construction. And once you see this and you feel it, you'll just know. You'll just know what a Juliana bracelet is. Once you've had one and once you've seen one, they pretty much have the same construction on the back.
They're all oval as well.
Correct. Yep, the links.
And they're not always, I mean, you can find Juliana bracelets that don't have the 5 links, so they're
That
not
is
as
correct.
popular, but these are definitely 5 links are a dead giveaway. That's the easiest one to recognize.
And also, if you think maybe a necklace or a brooch that you have is Juliana, and then you find the bracelet that matches, that is a good indicator. That's another tool I've used. Then here is the sparse, this is to show those heavy rivets. So these rivets aren't as like in your face, but here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here's the open back you hear Lynn has talked before about the elongated navets. And lots of times they're pointing up. I think all the time they're pointing. I'm sure there's an exception, but it seems like they're always pointing up. And there's some figure 8 puddling right there. Even though we're not supposed to say that, but it seems to be true a lot of the time. Wire over rhinestone is an element of the earrings in the front. See those little pieces of wire over the rhinestones? Other makers use this too, but that is an indicator that we can look at. It's also probably an indicator that's well made no matter who made it, but the Juliana necklaces oftentimes have those not all the time, but you'll see the beaded dangles. That's a you know, in the clear glass beads, they used simulated pearls, they used a lot of art glass. You know, this is where research, but unfortunately it's harder for us to research things like Juliana on eBay because there's a lot of solds on Juliana that absolutely are not. They're just wrong. This is the everything series from Juliana necklace, and they used a lot of Rivoli stones. And
Is most of the rhinestones prong set, or do they have a variety of settings for the rhinestones?
I think there's a variety.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, I think that you'll find whole sets that are prong set, but I've had sets that were not. So I don't
Okay.
think that's yeah. Nicole.
Do you recommend getting the book versus relying
Absolutely.
solely on the
Both
web?
books are good. Both books are good.
Both.
I like the one Ann Pittman just put out. It is amazing. But the first book, the book that like Lynn reviewed on her channel, it's not a bad book. It's a good book. I have both. I like them. But the one that Ann Pittman put out is really good.
Are
And
there
I
things
think she's running a flash sale on it right now
She
too.
is. There's a sale right now. Yep. She just announced it a couple days ago.
so not everything is on the database online?
So the database is like archaic at best.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
My necklace is not on the database. I was going to submit it to Anne because I found the bracelet. So I am sure, hang on, I did pull it up. So I'm sure it's Juliana.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I've got yeah, it's an odd one that you would never think is Juliana.
Oh wow.
That's pretty. And you have the bracelet to match it?
I don't, but I know somebody that does, and they sent me
okay.
pictures. Yep.
Yeah, that's very
Can you
pretty.
put in the chat the name of the book and the author that we should get, please?
Well, you have to buy it off the Juliana website. You can't, I mean, you could go buy it secondary, but you're better off just buying it from Ann Pittman.
You can go to her Facebook page and
Yeah.
you have to message her and pay for it through PayPal, I think.
Is it expensive?
Oh.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're
I
like
think they
$100
were
bucks, I
80
think.
bucks now.
Yeah,
80
that's
or
cheap.
90.
The first one, the
The
first
first one
was
goes
like
for 1,000 now.
Yeah.
What?
The price really went
$1,000.
down. I almost paid it too. That's
Oh,
how
me
good this
too.
book is.
I wanted that. If I could have found it, I probably would have. If I'd seen
I
it in
found one for
person.
600 one time, and I was real close. But then she redid this book, and so it's the exact same book with some additions and subtractions. So I mean, it's pretty much the same book. Absolutely. And I was shocked. Lynn doesn't have the book. I was like, Lynn, what?
Well,
I couldn't believe
I
you hadn't bought
messaged
that book.
when she first put it out on Facebook, I messaged her right away and said I want it, and she never got back to me, and I feel like my email went to spam, and I just never got back to emailing her again.
Well, it's on
And
sale.
I had the other books.
It's on sale,
I have
and it
all
is
of them.
different. It's different. It doesn't blow the other book out of the water, but it's different.
The
Well,
The other
it
book's
has
a
a
solid
lot
book.
more. It has a
Yes.
lot more.
Yeah, it's
Called
very good.
Jewelry referenced by Ann Pittman.
Yep,
No.
and on there right now they're having a flash sale. So
Thank you.
Is
yep.
it
Yeah,
Juliana?
that book was because they only did one printing of that original book. And then so it was going up to $1,000 on Amazon and on eBay. And then when she put out this second one, it kind of tanked those sales, but they're still selling for quite a bit of money. Collectors still want them, the original book. And she'll autograph it and everything for you. She's a neat lady. So anyway, that was my delve into trying to help people with Juliana. It's a sticky subject, and I will say it is something that gets my dander up when I see like obviously not, like, because obviously you didn't try at all to learn anything. Like, you know, like there's just some that you know aren't, because it's just not, right? So everybody learns, but once you start figuring out quality, that's a big thing too. The Juliana brooches
That's
and
what,
stuff, when you pick it up, they're quality pieces.
right. That's what I was gonna say is you see a lot of layers within them. The rhinestones are sparkly, usually. I mean, there is some that have a lot of wear, but a lot of times the rhinestones just pop out. Like the colors in them are so pretty, and the layers, the quality is there. That's for sure.
Be
Also,
careful.
they do
Yeah,
come in. I was just going to say you can also get bangles, which are just gorgeous. They're harder to find
harder
and
to find, but
recognize, but the
Mhm.
bangles are just. I love the
don't
bangles.
overpay for Juliana right now.
Down.
The market's pretty well tanked on it, to be honest. There's still a few pieces, like if you get an Easter egg set or something, it's still gonna sell for good money. If you get that, I always call them the owl ones, but the big blue ones with reverse rivolis and stuff, they'll still do well. But you know what? The rest of them that I was selling for 80 to 120 bucks last year, 35 is a pretty good price right now. So don't overpay for Juliana right now. I had a lady that was doing an appraisal or whatever, and I'm like, she asked my opinions, and I'm like, dreaming is my opinion. Like those prices were like 5 year ago prices. These prices are not today's prices. So you could still get the real original ones, or ones that are really unique or whatever, that'll go for good. But across the board, and there is a guy on Whatnot that's name is Sparky something, and he has the most amazing Julianas, and he has such off the wall amazing pieces. But I've also seen him in Whatnot shows paying $1,000 for him too, so he pays up for his stuff. But I go in there for educational value, not for bidding, because it's so amazing. Like he'll show you the construction, and like, here's a cup, here's this, here's that, and stuff I would never get to see otherwise because I can't afford that stuff. I'm too poor. So
I have a pair of earrings that I recently purchased for $8, and it's in the Juliana database as a set with a brooch. Would you say $8 was too much for earrings?
you know, lots of them you're gonna
What
get
is
40,
what
yeah, what are they? That
I was
depends.
I was just gonna say I'm looking at one right now that's sold for $75 and it's got the Easter eggs in it.
I don't have the
Easter
Easter.
egg ones are still hot. Yep.
These are
No,
like climbers, I guess, a little bit. They're, you know,
A lot of them
what's
are
the
gonna go for
stone?
about 39, 40
yeah.
bucks.
You could sell them directly to me on PayPal.
You can always hit up
That's Larry.
Suzanne for a good,
I'll
for a
buy
good,
them if
good
it's
deal.
something I don't have.
Okay.
Because
I mean,
you
just
do
send me-
need another pair, Suzanne.
I do need another pair. And I love climbers.
Excuse me,
I also want some dangles. So if you have any dangles, just send me pictures.
I don't think I have dangles. I just have
Yep, that's very,
yeah.
very classic Juliana construction.
Are you guys
Suzanne,
still
what
talking about
ones
Julian?
on you
Suzanne?
saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. So this is
Audrey's,
the one. Oh, you have the earrings?
this is Audrey's mom's brooch in the chat.
Oh boy, is that nice, Audrey.
Mhm.
Very, very pretty.
I could probably put the earrings in the chat. I'll try.
But you're not
Very pretty.
selling the set, you're just showing it.
I'm not sure. She actually hated it. She said it was, I don't know, she liked more bright colors, but someone gave it to her. You know, and she's going now, and I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. But it's pretty. It's really pretty.
It is
Suzanne,
pretty.
Suzanne, if you get that brooch, my earrings will match perfectly with it. I'm just saying.
Oh, you have the earrings? Show the earrings.
Oh, I've had them forever. The orange ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what, Nicole, I've looked at those a couple of times. Send me a price that you want without going through eBay.
Okay, deal.
Pull up any, I'll get us started here. I didn't have anything amazing this week, but pull up any deals or finds or good jewelry sales you had this week to share, because we love to hear about people's good finds, good sales, good deals, all that fun stuff. Let's see. I didn't have anything amazing this week, but Kirk's Folly, the moon faces will never let you down. I think I shared this last Wednesday. The moon face Kirk's Folly sells really well. I think I sold it for 165. I bought it in a lot. I had under $1 into it. So they look cheap. They feel cheap. I've never been super impressed by the Kirk's Folly construction sometimes, but it was the real deal. It's just it baffles me that people want to buy that stuff. This was not an expensive thing, but because I can't sell a pearl to save my life, I was happy to get $100 out of this. This you could wear different ways. It's magnetic, so you can make it into like 2 necklaces or 2 bracelets, or so it's made to be able to put them together or take them apart, which was kind of cool. That also came in that same lot the Kirk's Folly did, so it was under $1. This was in the same lot also.
Wow.
Camrose and Cross, they paid full price. They even make an offer, $90. So those I like to sell, those Camrose and Cross ones. They're easy. I took an offer of 120 or 119.99 or something on this. This I got in a lot on eBay. I got 5 of these bracelets for like $40, I think, and a lot on eBay, and they don't look special. You know, they don't look, but I could just tell that they
Did you test that for gold filled?
I did not test it, but I looked it up and the signature's all right. So, and the guy already got it and said he tested it and it was good. So,
Lynn, I was
I-
gonna ask you, did you do a call on that? When we do the asset test, how do we know this gold fill when we're doing the asset? I thought that was just for solid
gold
stuff.
fill is not easy and it's not super accurate. So I
gold
don't.
plated and gold filled is difficult. It's just a matter of how long. I think, I don't know. It's hard to, I can't do a call on it.
If the signatures are correct and the aging looks appropriate on
Mm-hmm.
gold filled,
Mm-hmm.
I will call it gold filled. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying everybody else should do it. If the age looks right and there's signatures and I look it up and all of their jewelry was gold filled,
Mm-hmm.
then I feel okay about it. If somebody asks me, I will absolutely say that I did not test for it, but most of the collectors aren't going to ask you because, like Lynn said, the gold filled testing's pretty sketchy at best. So
what about if it's not marked and you believe that it's gold filled? Do you ever?
I will not call it gold filled.
Won't. Okay. All right. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Or if it's marked, but it's not age appropriate, or it just doesn't look right, then I usually just don't sell them at that point. But
that's beautiful. What'd you have read there for, Carrie?
Because it's missing a stone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I didn't notice it when I looked at it. It's beautiful.
Yep. So I put read in it so that it, in big letters, then I put missing a stone. And the back was dirty. So I put that too. But this is a Barrera, not a Barrera for Avon, how we know Barrera. This is a Jose Barrera piece, not for Avon. I bought this on Macari for $40, knew what it was, and flipped it. Actually, I think she took an offer from me, but I don't know. It was cheap. Here's my broken Mickey watch that I sold for $190. It doesn't work. It's broken. It's overwound. I got it for $1 on Whatnot. And he's broken, but
Are,
it's okay.
are all Mickey watches? I mean, I don't know. I have a mini watch.
Most of them are horrible. Most of them are terrible. I usually don't touch a Mickey Mouse watch within a 10-foot pole because most of them aren't worth anything. But this was a 1939 one.
Oh, okay.
I usually lot them up. I've sold 2 lots of Mickey Mouse watches now, and they don't go for a whole lot. Even the original Loris.
Nope.
I think I get like $30 or $40 for a lot of 8 of them.
Does it say 1939 somewhere, or you looked it up?
No, it was made by Ingersoll. See how it's signed Ingersoll House?
Uh-huh.
And I knew that was the older version and that it wasn't a repop. And this is all chrome.
Okay.
I just knew from researching watches. So it's broken, but I'll take $100 some for it when I bought it for $1. So that was this week's sort of hits, I guess. I didn't have anything crazy, but Larry, you were next.
Yeah, let me share. I sold that expensive Southwestern thing. Where'd it go? I
Oh
didn't make
yeah,
a
I was gonna
whole
ask you about that.
didn't make a whole lot of money, I'll tell you, man. But it's okay. I was asking
So
700. I
beautiful.
paid 300 for it. I took an offer for 450, and after I ran the eBay calculator, I think I made about 45 bucks. So not a huge return on a $300 investment, but at
At
least it's
least you didn't
gone.
lose it. Yeah. At
That's
least you
right.
didn't lose.
The problem here was that it's not signed. And I had a lot of interaction with the buyer as far as provenance, and she's interested in another practically identical piece that's just a pendant that's about the size of one of these chunks that I'm selling for like 200. But it's signed by the artisan, and it has the name of the Pueblo carved into the piece. So having that piece helped me justify the buyer to be convinced that this was from the same tribe as well. So anyway, I was very careful not to claim that it was, and I was using terms like
Yep.
it was very weasel worded as far as the way I was interacting with her, but I did describe
I
that.
mean, it's beautiful no matter what.
Yes.
Total beautiful necklace.
And I made 40 bucks, so it's okay.
That brings up what I forgot to tell you guys was, so I had an run that dang calculator, guys. Run the eBay fees calculator, because there was a beautiful red rhinestone Alfred Felipe Trifari bracelet that I could have bought last night for $100. And I looked and I'm like, okay, I can sell that for 175 like tomorrow. I could get my money back out. I mean, it's going to sell immediately for about 175. I ran that fee calculator. That wouldn't work. I'd get 16 bucks profit. So run the calculator, guys, because it's pretty shocking sometimes. Because to
Yeah.
me, in my head, I was thinking a $50 profit. I could do an immediate $50 profit. Nope. It was 1676. And I was like, "Ooh, glad I ran that." When you get into the higher dollar items, especially, those percentages add up, and that's what gets you. So, yeah,
That's
see,
kind of why I was glad to take the money I did with this one, because it had been sitting for 2.5 months or so, and yeah, I could have gone through some other avenue to try to sell it, but I'd still have the same provenance issue no matter where I go. So
well, see,
anyway,
Larry, Eric missed that part, but Larry shared that night, crushed it, and when he showed it, I'm like, "Oh, hope you get your money back out of that one." But I will say, Larry has opportunities to hit the jackpot sometimes too by taking those chances. So
yeah,
I don't think it's a bad thing doing that very often, but however, now going forward, maybe you won't take the chance if there's no signature, because you learned
right.
from this one.
Yeah.
But I agree with Lisa. You got out of it, you made a profit, and we live to see another day. I've taken big chances like that and lost money. So, and now, you know what? I remember what was about that made it a bad deal, right? We learn. That's how we build our Rolodex, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
I don't think it was terrible, and you learned something out of it. So, and I
I
think
wish I had
smart.
taken pictures of the house, because the house was just filled with New Mexico Native American. They had posters of Taos, the Pueblo. They had posters of mountain ranges, and it was just reeked of American Indian, especially
And
New
I think you were
Mexico.
smart using that necklace as provenance. And I would have told you to do the same thing. I would have been like, Larry, show him something else you bought there that had
Yep.
signatures on it.
Yep.
And so good job. You did good on that. So I was a little worried for you when you showed that. And so I'm glad you didn't lose any money, but a beautiful necklace no matter what. I mean, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Eric, you want to go next? I'm glad you're sharing with us.
Sure, yeah. So I found, let me see if I can share my,
It's a little green button at the bottom with an arrow if you aren't used to
and then
doing.
do I just share desktop? Yeah.
Yep.
Pick the monitor that you want to share if you got more than one.
Is it sharing now?
Nope, not yet. It probably has a thing you got to click that says, yes, share my desktop or something. It pops up. It's annoying.
There we go. I think that, uh,
It gets us all. Sometimes it's hidden behind things.
there we go. I think that, uh,
Sometimes it's hidden behind things.
There we go. I think that, uh, Sometimes it's hidden behind things. 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 Sometimes it's hidden behind th Zoom share.
Yeah, you probably get a pop up.
There's
It
a
was
to
me
your
that
screen.
signed off with my phone, Carrie, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a share button on the
It may be on video. You have to click something. Sometimes I have to. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think he's getting the share part. It's getting a pop up afterwards.
It's not allowing me to share it. Oh,
Is it, do you have it listed on eBay or is it something you found?
No, I just sold it. It's,
If it was on eBay, you can share the listing with us in the chat and I can share it for you. Go to the item and then hit share listing.
even if it's sold.
yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you can look up solds. All you need is the title.
Yep.
Oh. All right. Let me do this.
I'll go to Mindy and just drop it in the chat and I'll share it for you.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
I got Crystal.
Thank you.
Yep. Mindy.
Yeah, so I had a nice sale only because I didn't really pay a lot for this. But originally, let me share. Originally I had listed this at $74.99 and I got a $40 offer and I got a $45 offer. So I took the $45 offer. It's St. John's. I've never heard of them. I've never seen.
I
There
love
was
St. John's jewelry. Sells
Yeah,
good.
there's a signature that I didn't recognize, so I had to go and research it. So there's the signature there. But yeah, it was not bad. I mean, I more than doubled my money. So but I was really hoping to get more along the $74.99 because it was all over the place. Like the comps were not for the specific exact one, but there were some for like 80, 90, and then there were some for like 30 to 40. So just wanted to share that because this
that's
is a
awesome.
brand for
Mindy,
me.
could you share the signature again? The maker's mark?
Yeah. Do you see that?
Is that a CS or is that?
I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
upside down. I
Upside
think it's
down.
It's
upside
upside
down.
down.
Oh, okay.
I can see it now. The SJ.
So it's at St. John. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I know it was.
It
But
almost looks like a Swarovski or
I know
it
that's what
gets
I thought too. It looked
confused
like
for
a
that.
That's what I
sword.
thought it was. Yeah.
Yep. Nope. So here's Mindy's totally right. Whether you go look up St. John's comps, you look for earrings, that goes, it's all over. Do you know why it's all over? Because there's people undersell it because they don't know what it is. Because this mark is confusing. So you'll see a lot of the low end ones because people just they don't know. I think you did great, Mindy. You know, you made a nice profit. You did great. But just like usually out of the earrings, I'll get 70, 80 bucks for a pair of earrings out of them. So St. John sells really well. And if you feel them, it's another one of the quality. Like if you're digging through clip-ons and you pick up a pair of St. John's, there's no doubt that you have quality. They're super heavy.
So do you think
Even
if I
though
had waited, I would have gotten more? Like if I had just or countered? Because I really
it also
wasn't sure.
depend on if the Chinese people were hitting you because they're going to hit you low. You're going to get a lot of those right in the bat with St. John's, just like you do some other brands. A collector probably would have ended up coughing up 60 bucks
Yeah,
for
I
that.
did go to
But
Delaware, so it might be.
it's
Yeah.
China. Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what? You did good. You've got your money. You made a profit, and you'll go buy some else. So
Yeah.
I still call it a win.
That first picture, Mindy, was amazing. That with the black background, that popped like really, really nice first picture.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
You know, I think that to me, those are wins. They are wins to me because you got out of it. You got quick, and it's fine. You did good. Oh, look, one of my favorite people, but I've never seen a brooch in this, Eric.
So I was at Savers and it was on the junk jewelry thing. And I looked at it and I thought, well, that's ugly enough to be worth something. So I took it off
Right.
the thing and I saw the signature on the back. And I think it was with my discount, I think I paid $2.94 for it.
Awesome.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And I had it on for a long time with nothing, and then I reworked to the listing. I sold similar and promoted it, and I took $96 for it.
Wow, that
And
is a
that's a
very
win.
ugly $96
Yeah.
brooch.
Right?
So here's that blue background that I was telling you about. Like he kind of makes it work. Like his jewelry, when he has big like gold bracelet on and stuff, it looks really nice. Like his store looks really nice. So I would have, if you would have been like, well, I'm using a blue background, I've been like, ooh, you need to work on that. No, his stuff looks pretty good on it. So Moni's is a great brand when you find it. It sells if you find a full Moni's necklace that's full of these, money. They sell for $600-700 sometimes for the full necklaces. So and it's okay if some of the discs are split, they'll buy it anyway. So good job, Eric. That was great.
Thank you.
I think this one's crystals, right?
Yes, it is. And it's not that
Very
it's
nice.
such a wonderful price, but it's that I've had it for a year and a half. So it finally sold and I was thrilled that it
Those
sold.
feel better, right? Those feel better
Yes.
sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And they're pearls, which I can't sell for anything usually. So good job. I'll use something more common, but I use this extension. See how it's got the sold history button now on all my listings? So if I'm researching something, I can hit that. It's not something that's super common. This one isn't. But if you have a common item, it immediately pops up and gives you all the information about the solds on the items. And I actually use it. I really like this software. So, and it will actually show up on active listings if I'm like if I turn it on, it'll pop up the latest solds in big red letters right beside it. So I can real quickly search it and it'll tell me the last 3 solds on that same item.
What do you mean turn it on?
But an
like
app?
right now I don't, it's a extension.
Yeah.
What is the extension? What is that?
I don't remember what it's called. It's one of the top ones. eBay. It's this one. EB Extractor.
Okay.
And it's not even glitchy and it's free. Like, I mean, it works pretty darn good. I haven't even found anything. See, I click, you can click, it's got all different buttons that'll pop up depending on what the plan is or what it is. But I mean, it works really good. The history is pretty accurate. And the more common of the item or the more common of the search term you give it, it'll give you more, obviously. But like, there's not a lot of the Stour cultural pearls one out there, but it's pretty handy for being free. I use it a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything that can, because sometimes we're in a really big hurry and we gotta hurry up and get a price, and some knowledge is better than no knowledge. Larry, did you have your hand up again?
Yes, I did. Let me share something real quick. This is something I'm about to list. I was going through lotting a whole bunch of stuff, but these two jumped out as being something I probably ought to keep by themselves. Cordoro. What screen am I looking at here? Can you guys see
Bracelets.
these are necklaces. They're how long are they? I think they're 18 inches long. There we go. 16 inches long. But they're both of them are made with a cord, which to me doesn't seem like that great, but I'm seeing them sell for anywhere from $40 to $150 a piece. Have you guys run into these?
Yeah, and the sell-through rate is ridiculously slow on them.
Yeah.
So like the one here that's like 50, 60. So only 14 have sold in the last 90 days by themselves.
Yeah.
And some of those they were keywords, they were spammed in lots. So I would say and these were like big fishes and stuff. So fish and glass are going to bring more money. If you sold them together, I'd put them for $40, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Was
They
that
sold
your
it. It was
picture
a
with
Neiman.
oh, I'm sorry, Carrie.
Oh, you're fine.
I
It was at
want to
Neiman
ask
Marcus.
the picture you were showing with the little chain, was that yours?
Yes.
That doesn't look like a necklace catch. It looks like no. I'm talking about the one that had the Usually it's 3 inches, you know, the extender.
Yes,
That's not
one of
it.
them had a chain, the other one did not. This one did not have an extender.
But show the other one again.
Um,
With the two of them together would be.
yeah, 1 second. That's not it. Sorry, folks, hang on, let me just.
So what do you guys think about, see how the black, I know the felt does that, but do you think
I
that's
don't use black because that drives me nuts.
yeah, see, it kind of,
That hair is just not my thing.
Yeah.
the jewelry lot I brought this weekend, it had a whole bunch of display things. I was like, oh great, I got displays now. But then when I was taking the pictures, I was seeing kind of this and I didn't like the way it looked.
There it is.
Okay.
Leatherette, people, leatherettes.
In the other picture that you showed, not that one, but in the other picture, it just looked so short.
They're both roughly 16 inches.
No, I
But
mean the what do you call it? The
yeah, this part here, it's like this chain wasn't even there.
yeah.
Maybe it wasn't.
And it was just this out main loop, and then the catch was way back here.
Maybe somebody added that extender on there because the necklace is so short.
Yeah.
They're pretty. I like them.
Mm-hmm.
All yours for just $39, Suzanne.
Oh, Larry, don't tempt me. I'm trying to be good, except for
Yeah,
with
I do have another Brahmin purse.
Oh, you found another one?
No, I bought two at the same time.
Our group is
Oh,
like
I
a
thought you
Brahmin
said-
purse dealership over here. We've probably got the corner market on Brahmin purses.
Yep.
Nicole had her hand up, I think.
I'm just gonna say no, Suzanne. I don't want to enable you anymore.
Oh, no. I have plenty. I'm trying to sell a few. I did sell a couple.
Nicole, did you go away?
No, I'm still here. I just wanted to
Okay.
know if you would be so kind as to share your extension secrets with us if you had any other extensions to help us save time and make more money.
The only other one I use is Text Place, which I shared in the
Yeah, no, I know.
before. That's the only other one I use.
Okay.
Yep. At first, so being the accountant that I am, I'm like, Nicole, if you need to ask me about tax extensions, we can talk about it later. I immediately, my brain was for extensions. I'm like, okay, well, you can ask me later.
Well, I need an extension on my previous extension if you want to know the truth.
It doesn't work that way if you want to know the truth.
Uh,
Go.
You mentioned that you list right after you photograph. So are you photographing your day's worth? You're photographing 30, then you're listing that 30?
It's all in one process. So I grab it from the bag. It's all prepared. So the night before I put my 30
Right.
in a bag, all cleaned. I grab it, put it in the light box, take my pictures, list it, put it away.
Ooh, so
Grab it.
you do the entire process for each individual piece.
Larry,
This
if you're
morning I
so
sent-
fast to blink your eyes, you'd miss it.
Suzanne got to watch me list boringly for an hour one time.
I want to watch you list boringly for 1 hour at a time.
Grab it. Yeah, I just grab it,
Unbelievable.
light box, put it away. But it's all in one process. So when I put it away, it's done.
You don't flip it.
And you're
Karen.
listing all of this from your phone?
Hmm.
Oh man,
Yeah, I
you
can't
must have
I
dexterous
always-
thumbs.
So I do have one of those wireless keyboards that goes to my
Oh, okay.
phones. So if
Okay.
my thumb's sore that day, because I have a sore thumb too. Actually my thumb gets more worn out from cleaning jewelry than it does the phone. But I this morning I had something come up, so it didn't. But I do other tasks in the morning. So I get up at 5 and by 6 I'm sitting here listing, and I almost always have my 30 up by 8:15-ish.
So Carrie, do you flip your jewelry or you're just taking one angle and the tag?
Oh, I take like 20 pictures a piece.
Oh,
15 to 20 usually. I don't do videos.
that's that quick, huh? Oh. Wow.
I'll do a video if there's some cool iridescent thing going on.
Yeah, I'm not saying anybody's wrong for doing it. I just didn't want you guys to think I was doing a video in that time period too, because I'm not. So
Yeah.
I will have my photographer do some videos. I decided that a great thing for her to start on would be lots, because I hate listing lots. I hate photography on lots. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna have that photographer start on lots. So I'm gonna beg her up lots and get her started on that, because I don't like doing them.
I hate doing
And
them too. It's so time consuming.
so I figure, well, I'm paying per listing, so maybe I'm gonna give her lots and Camrose crosses because I think I have 60 Camrose and cross left to list, and that would be an easy one to identify since they all have names and they're all in the box. So I figured she could do those. I'm gonna share with you something I listed this morning that I did not. I mean, I knew it was valuable. I didn't think it was trash, but they all came together for $5. And I knew they were sterling, so I already thought I was like, hey, I'm getting a good deal, right? But I didn't know this maker. And I've gotten offers already on all of them, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait this one out because it's real strong on the prices. So they're just enamel flowers, and I got the set of 3 for $5.
Wow.
And they looked really worn out and stuff, but I mean they're old sterling. The other piece has a better marking to show you guys because I've never seen this marking before, so I didn't know. But when I see Denmark on sterling, it's usually never done me wrong. I'm telling you, Denmark sterling does well. And it's very heavy. I mean, it's a nice piece. They're nice. Look at the back on that.
Beautiful. Look, yeah, but look
I've
at
had
that.
that one.
Yeah.
Do you list the weight of the silver for those that might be buying it for silver?
No, because they're not going to pay me what I want for it.
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
there isn't that value there.
Right.
And when they ask me for the weight, I say, if you're asking me for the weight, you're not going to pay me what I want anyway.
Right.
But the back on that was so cool. I don't even know what you call that. I think it's a really big 2-pinch or something. I know it was big.
Like a safety pin.
It was pretty cool. And when they sold it to me, they said, sorry, the back's messed up on that one. It's not messed up. It's just different. It's not, it's the way it's supposed to be. And then it came with this one too. So there was 3 pieces. AM.
Gorgeous,
AM March.
gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I have,
So I've gotten offers on all 3 of them,
wow.
but I'm not taking them yet. And there's the back on that one.
I have
So
a
that
little
was this
of
morning, the
enamel,
price.
but that one is like the mama and the daddy of all of them.
Yeah, well, usually my enamel flowers are not priced like that. It was because of the signature, and I was like, Anton, what?
But it's
So,
beautiful the way it's constructed and the
it felt good. So like when I say that, I know I'm not a good teacher like that, but it felt good when I was grabbing it. So
beautiful.
have another estate full. I don't know. I think Camrose and Cross, whoever, I think like Jacqueline Kennedy's haunting me or something because I went years and never found one piece of it ever. And I've purchased like 90 some pieces in the last 6 months. And then I found another collection. Somebody wanted to get rid of the whole collection. So all in the box still. I don't think these people ever wore their jewelry. I found Camrose and Cross on a Whatnot show once. I bought it for $5, but usually it's always still in the box. Like I think they just collected it. I don't know. I don't think they ever wore it, but it sells really well. I have one guy that
I'll
buys a
share.
lot of them. Let's see what you got.
I sold another one of them pieces that I've had up for a while.
Oh, the amber pieces.
Yeah, the amber pieces that were etched from the backside and they had little roses inside.
Beautiful.
Finally sold at 30% off for 111.
Nice.
Pretty.
And Joan Rivers has been selling this week. And this one went for 62. At first I picked it up in some dirty old jewelry and I thought, no way, I'll never get it clean. And I really had to work at it to get it to shine up again, but it doesn't look too bad. It's still not 100%. So sold for $62. And
Nice.
this one I just thought was gorgeous. I really wanted to keep it myself, but I'm like, where am I going to wear it? So
Every
sold
day.
for $62. Every day to the doctor's office, to the grocery store, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep, that's about the best ones from this week.
Nice.
I did find an opal, some raw opal rings. And I'll tell you one thing, the lady before me that bought it from this guy at the flea market was not very nice to the guy. And he had a bag on the back end of his pickup truck on the tailgate. He had a bag of stuff that was sorted, but it was inside the truck a little bit. and he had a whole bunch of jewelry laying on the tailgate, and this lady was picking up the jewelry on the tailgate, and she seen that bag, and she reached over and grabbed the bag and dumped it out into his pile of jewelry on the tailgate, and that ticked him off. So then he's like, I'm not, she wanted one piece out of there, and he goes, I don't know, and he kind of threw his hands in the air like, I had that sorted. That stuff's all sterling. And and she says, well, what do you want for it? And he goes, I don't know. I don't think I want to sell it to you. So I didn't sell it to her. And then when I got up there, he was a little bit perturbed, so I was trying to be extra nice. And I had 4 rings, one on each finger, and I said, what do you want for these rings? And he looked at them closely, and he's like, and I had a handful of jewelry in my other hand, and he said, what do you want to give me? And I said, I was thinking like 40. And he goes, I was right in there, 40, 45, 50. He goes, well, how about we make it 45? And I said, okay. So these 4 rings were all sterling, and 2 of them were raw opals. Like they had part of the rock still on them, and they were bezel set in sterling. And I bet I paid probably $4.50 maybe for each one of them. But
Nice.
Wow.
I noticed that the nicer you are to them, the more they're willing to work with you, because he's like, yeah, I'll do 45 for you, but I buy from him every time I go. But you can't just walk up and grab a bag of their stuff, throw it in the middle of the table, and then say, I want this piece, and just rude.
I've never understood either the people that think that you're going to get a better price by running down their items, like telling them how it's
Yeah.
crap, or like I don't really think that works. But you
No,
see
I
people do
usually
it a lot.
start with this is really nice, but here's why I'm only willing to give you X if I'm going to be bartering with them. But yeah, it helps to tell them that their stuff is good.
I'm bad at bartering, guys. I'm just like, this is what I got. Don't want it. Okay, have a good day. I just don't barter well. However, I come in with the actual price. Like I'm not leaving myself room. I'm like, this is it. This is how and I think part of that's just from like livestock and stuff. Like people don't go, it's like, what do you want? This is what it is. You shake hands, you go away. Like I think I'm just used to that. I don't do the back and forth very well. And if they don't want it, I'm fine. I move on.
Push back on you though, because you get your stuff really cheap. And I don't know if that's your
That's from
bulk.
buying estates. That's from dropping over $1,000 each time. I
Okay.
don't get stuff
Okay.
that cheap just by buying it here and there. I get it from,
Yeah.
they have across the board really good stuff. They usually think it's worth like 5 or 10,000. Then I have to break the news to
Yeah.
them. Well, that's fine. It's worth 1,000 to me or 2,000 to me. And then lots of times they'll say no. And then like a month later, they'll get a hold of me and go, it turns out nobody wants it for that. Yeah.
And then like Larry was saying, I'm always scared to tell them, like you're saying, oh, it's really nice. Yeah, I'm not trying to carry on too much about how nice it
Either.
is, because I think that it does the opposite. It makes them like, oh, maybe I should sell this for. They're gonna pay
Nice.
a little more.
Yeah.
I put up a Facebook ad for golf clubs where I basically say, let me tell you what I think they're worth. And that's generated a ton of both buying and selling opportunities for me. A gentleman just yesterday had some really nice stuff, and he was one of these hard ass, don't lowball me, don't whatever. He had the stuff was listed on Facebook, and I wrote him back and I said, you're right on your price for this and that. I said, but you're way too high on this, and here's why, and here's what, and here, look at this, and it sold for that. And anyway, so I softened it with what was that, the compliment sandwich, right? Here's your good point. Here's some correction or whatever, and then I'm going to close with some good, nice kind of thing. Anyway, that was well received by the guy. I don't know if he's going to come back and sell me that stuff, but yeah, I usually try to compliment them on their stuff, because after all, it's their baby. Whether it's an ugly baby or not, it's their baby.
Yep. No, I agree. And I get tons of calls all the time where I'm like, okay, and then they send me pictures, and like learning to say no nicely has been a big, like today I contacted a guy because he was in my area and he buys gold or whatever. And so I'm like, hey, do you have people come with a bunch of old stuff that isn't? And he's like, yeah, all the time. And I'm like, here you go. I'll bring you my gold. You send me those people. And like the one lady that sends me lots of business, I sent her some gold this morning. But I have a flat rate box full. I just tape it up and send it to them, and they never treat me wrong.
That's a good idea.
Yep. Lisa, do you want us to quit the recording?
Not yet. Look, not
Okay.
yet on this one. So, how much do you save until you go and have it melted? Is it weight wise?
If I'm mine, I live so far away that it's whenever if that box is full, I tape it up and send it to her. But
You're saying a
you could
box.
join for one piece, you know?
Okay. Because remember I was telling you those hat pins, I got the offer for 60. I had them up for 85. But
Mhm.
when I did chat GPT, it told me not to sell them for that price because I could get more if I was
ChatGPT is terrible at gold prices, by the way. It is wrong most of the time. So I think ChatGPT probably was correct this morning, but just don't follow it for pricing because it's really bad sometimes.
Okay, that's good to know. I went down that since you mentioned the other day, I started going down that route and I've been watching videos and all kinds of stuff because that chat GPT could really help though. So I'm glad you said that for pricing because I might have kind of went with it because one of the girls did a video. She did what she normally does, how we do our lens, and then she had a split screen and it took her like a
Mhm.
minute and something to do it the regular way, how we do it with the searching as opposed to the chat GPT, and it was 17 seconds, I think. And then when she did it regular, it was a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So that was pretty interesting
Nice.
how fast it researched it, on the fly like that. Yeah.
The Kitco app is what I use for my market prices. The KITCO Kitco app is what I use for
KIT.
all that stuff. KITCO Kitco. And you can put like watch lists on it and stuff too if you're watching different currencies and you're watching the spots or you're watching whatever you're watching. You guys probably aren't as being nerds about that as I am, but it's got about the best app there.
Okay. Thank you.
And all you got to do is like gold's down today, silver's down a little bit. Silver's still pretty high compared to what it's been, but gold's still
Still high.
33.14, so that's pretty darn high. It'll be on either one, Nicole, but Patreon for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Hey, it's Carrie with Reseller Revenue. Just wanted to come on and let you know if you'd like to see more of this, if you'd like to see more of my daily calls Monday through Thursday and you'd like to participate, please go to Reseller Revenue Patreon group, and that's how you join our Facebook group also is through that link. And you can join our morning calls, which we meet every day, Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Time. And then we have other calls afterwards, like we have a shoe call, a clothing call. We have a bunch of different kinds of calls. Also, the jewelry call that I do with Finds of Yesterday is on Tuesday mornings following the morning call. And also, you can get information on how to get personalized one-on-one coaching for an additional fee. From me, we'll review your store. We'll go through different ways you can improve your listings. So I'd love to have you. Please check out Resell Revenue on Patreon.